Did you ever hear the story about Mel Gibson? Back when Mel Gibson and his 10 children went to see the summer blockbuster, Batman Returns. Mel sat in the theater with his mouth wide open, a tear from his eye. Having recently been in Lethal Weapon 3, the idea came into Mel's forever expanding mind. He drove his children home after the movie had ended and went to his private office. He knew that Lethal Weapon was on the decline. He begged and pleaded to have Joe Pesci removed from Lethal Weapon 3, but Richard Donner said that the franchise was nothing without Joe. This angered Mel. Mel was Mad Max, and now he was Martin Riggs. So late that night, Mel decided to keep himself locked away until the light bulb in his head came on and smashed, as the idea was that explosive. Mel wanted to direct and star and edit his own superhero movie. A month or two went by, and the poor reviews for Batman Returns meant that the franchise needed to go in another direction. So with pen to paper, Mel started to draft some scripts. During this time, Mel had another 2 children. And in the summer of 1994, Mel had come up with his final draft of the new sequel to Batman, under the title, Batman of the World. He frantically drove to Warner Brothers Studios. Any chief executives were in meetings. Mel knew of this world, but when Mel gets an idea, he runs with it. Mel waited 6 hours until he could convince them to read his script. It was an instant no. This angered Mel, and he said, "I will be back tomorrow with another one." Mel drove home, locked himself away again, putting pen to paper. He knew the deadline was for the summer of 1995. So he rang to ask Danny Glover if he would get involved, and he offered him the role of Mr. Freeze. He said the only way he would agree to join the cast of Batman 3 was if Richard Donner was directing. Mel slammed the phone down in disgust. Mel turned on the news. Michael Keaton has quit playing Batman for good. Mel clapped his hands together and started to write another script. This one is the one he cried. After 3 hours of writing, he came up with the title This Ain't My Gotham City, with Woody Harrelson as Robin, Mel as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Mel went through his entire address book that evening, people who had met on the red carpet, networking celebrities. So he asked Sigourney Weaver if she wants to play Poison Ivy. She instantly said yes. Then Mel remembered that she had just done Alien 3 and how bad that was. So he tried Rene Russo. She said, "Okay, I'll do it, but as long as you make a movie about our son being abducted and we are calling it Ransom." Mel agreed. So Rene drove over to Mel's house for costume fitting. He insisted that she wears it for their next meeting with Warner Brothers. So Mel and Rene sleep for 1 hour, then drive to Warner Brothers, this time with what they think is gold. They hand the script over to the producers, and they say, "Yes, this is great, Mr. Gibson. We just need one little tweak, and that is, can we have Joe Pesci as the Penguin, and the movie is yours, Mel." Mel felt that little vein on his temple start to pulsate. No way was Joe freaking Pesci going to be in his first superhero movie. Mel, after half a second of thinking, said, "No way. This is my baby." Everyone grumbled and said okay. Rene Russo dressed in green spandex, you could hear the creaking. A voice can be heard walking up the corridor. Everyone looks at each other for a second, wondering who it could be. "Relax, it's me, everyone. It's me, Joel Schumacher. I have this great Batman idea. We are going to call it Batman Forever, and it's going to have nipples and Seal and Nicole Kidman and lights and glam and wham and bam, and it is also going to have Val Kilmer as Batman." Mel bashed his hand out onto Joel's script. Hundreds of pieces of paper scattered across the floor, with the wind taking each page in its own direction. There was paper floating all around the Warner Brothers studio. So you heard it here first, when you go back to watch Batman Forever, that you almost got a movie with Mel Gibson as Batman, Danny Glover as Mr. Freeze, Sigourney Weaver as Poison Ivy, and Rene Russo. And remember, as always, you can thank me later.